working at the Instituto de Estudios Peruanos, Institute of Peruvian Studies in Peru, which is a private research institution, and I was involved in the project with Mireia Francois and several others, which let us learn a little bit more about what is going on with the mobile telephony in rural areas in Peru. The content of the presentations is the motivation first, then some facts about the zone of study, because I think it's a very interesting zone. Maybe some of you have been in Meseta del Collao around Lake Titicaca, which was the study zone. Theoretical framework, just to have some concepts to work around. Econometric results, I will be presenting a lot of tables. I approached this paper based on my training as an economist, but there are a lot of stories that will be, when we talk tomorrow about the timeline in the future, to get into the paper in the way forward. The motivation is a fact that you know mobile phones have been the tool used to get ICTs to the poor in several parts in the developing world. As I was reminding, use of the mobile phone differs from subscription, as you have some papers by Galperin and Mariscal. Judith is here, we'll be presenting later, and De Silva and Sanuden for Asia. The basic question in this research is the mobile phone being used in the productive sphere, okay? Allowing users to change facts in the production function, in the combination of input into getting a product. That may include changing the product. Because we have let us say, some research on the effects of the mobile phone when bringing information for marketing decisions. And those are, to my point of view, different aspects of the possible impact that the information brought by the mobile phone may have. Our study area are the households in the area of influence of two fairs in Puno, in southern Peru. We selected randomly one household, and in each household, we selected one informant. And that informant is the one giving us information about how the mobile phone is used. And I have some images for Puno. I don't know how to go somewhere. Okay, Puno will be here. You have the whole Latin American continent. And this is Lake Titicaca, La Paz, Bolivia. And Lima, farther, 1 hour flight by plane. This is the two fairs. This is the fair of Asillo, the one in light blue, and in green, the fair of Taraco, which is the other one. Taraco is closer to the capital, Puno, and also to Juliaca, which is the major marketing point in the area. And this is more detailed. You have the Meseta del Collao. I don't know how to say meseta in English. Plateau? Plateau, I think it will be plateau, where Lake Titicaca is located, making the frontier between Peru and Bolivia. And how do I go back? Great, and some photos from the fairs. And this is a trip we took last year. Mireia was there. Maybe she took this picture. I'm trying to buy some potato for my family here. And we arrived just in May, which is the key month in getting the produce out. So I was able to get really nice potatoes, the ones you will not find here, unless like for 30 euros or something like that. And this is an image of the plateau, which gives you an idea. This is not your regular Machu Picchu kind of site, okay? With a lot of deep gaps and, you know, canyon-like pictures. plateau, and the kind of houses that you will get. This is poorer than this one. You can tell by the roof. Okay, this is a recently changed roof. This is an oldest one. Okay, and this will be part of the fair in which they trade livestock in general. This is the fair in Taraco. Go back. Otherwise, I don't get to the point. These are small rural producers. We have, the total sample was over 1,000 households. But for this exercise in this paper, I selected only the ones who say that are permanently dedicated to either or both agriculture and husbandry. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to contrast later on, I guess, maybe Mireia will ask the question, the results that we got from analyzing households to the ones we get analyzing only rural agricultural producers. And measured by unsatisfied basic needs, these households are poorer than both the average households in Puno and the average in Peru, and also in Peru. Only, no, let's put it the other way, 3 out of 4 households in the sample are poor by this measure. In Peru, it will be 4 out of 10, which is a big difference to my taste. Jonathan already talked about the Jensen study, which I think is very important, that it is rent dissipation in the market that is solved by the use of the mobile phone. My question was, what happens in the household production process? And so the data we collected is not enough to reproduce what I wanted to do at some point in the research, which would be a total factor productivity study. I don't have enough data to do that, which will allow me to answer the question fully. What I did was use something that we collected in the field work, which is profits. But profits has implicitly the cost. And so the way people combine input into the production process, but also the way people integrate into the market. And so the variable that I'm using to try to answer my question combines both the production sphere and the circulation sphere. The dependent variable, I ran 2 sets of regressions with dependent variables, will be agricultural activities and livestock husbandry. I don't know how to get a shorter name for that. And the independent variables will be the ones related to human capital, number of members of the family, education, natural capital, the plot, the size of the plot, the number of heads of the major livestock, etc. But also market orientation, how much of the sales come from different lines of activities, and also mobile phone. And so in the paper you will find several, all the variables that I use and the hypotheses that are behind them. And I have this just to let you know how I use the mobile phone use. We have mobile user as an informant, mobile used to get information about agricultural crops, which will be the variable telling me if the mobile was used to get information to affect the production function. Okay? A variable which was very important when we did the job on the effect on the welfare on the household was length of mobile use, and we use it both as continual and categorical along some categories we developed with Mireia, and also we ask if the mobile was used to communicate with clients and providers, which refers the hypothesis that I have is that it refers to the market integration circulation sphere. And also if mobile was perceived to have facilitated communications with clients and providers. These are the variables that I use, and this is the way I measure them. And I should go back. I have the results on a particular table. You will find it. I don't want to bore you with a lot of numbers and asterisks for significant relevance. I want to share with you big results. First was an OLS, ordinary least square. We all know this is like the first thing you have to do with your data after you get the descriptive statistics. And so what we got from the OLS in both the agricultural profit equation and the livestock husbandry equation was when users were present, profits were larger. And that will be ringing bells in all the economies here. Hey, there might be an endogeneity problem that we try to solve, and I will talk to you about that later. And the mobile phone was used, when the mobile phone was used to communicate with clients and providers, the sign was the one we expected, okay? It was positive, so if you use it, if you use the mobile phone, if you told us that you use the mobile phone to communicate with clients and providers, profits were larger. But we didn't get the statistical significance that we wanted. To solve the endogeneity problem, we use a instrumental variables equation. We instrumented communicating with clients and providers and the head of the household being a Spanish speaker. Because in this area, there are two languages which are the mother tongues for the people there, which are Aymara and Quechua. And only 25% of households, you get the head of household being a native Spanish speaker. So we instrumented talking with clients and providers with speaking Spanish for the head of the household, not the informant, the head of the household. And so the interaction, we saw no statistical significance for our variables of mobile use. And the other thing that we noticed, looking at all these equations that you will find in the paper that we may see if you want, is that there are a lot of interactions. Like when you get the talking with clients and providers with a negative sign, only when you introduce in the model the variables related to, I got information from, for crops or livestock using the mobile, or that the people perceive an improvement in communication. If you didn't include those two variables, the sign on the talking with clients will be positive. So there are some interactions, putting some, agree with you, into the, what I call circulation and productive spheres, that how we are using the variables and how we are running the regressions right now are not letting us disentangle. The way forward. One thing which I think is very interesting in this case is that on average, the mobile phone has been used for less than a year and a half. It is 16 months, the average, and the median also. So there are a lot of people who have been using the phone, but for a period shorter than a productive cycle in either agriculture or livestock. So it might be too early to tell what is going on in the productive sphere. On the other hand, and agreeing with Jonathan, a point you made earlier, is that the use of mobile in marketing, I contend, is less costly than in productive decisions. Because when you want to change, figure yourself, trying to change the way you have been doing things in your regular job, I contend, well, it's obvious the older you are, the more difficult it gets. And so it is costly for producers to change the way they go about their work, their traditional work. And also, in marketing decisions, you go to the market like every week or every 2 weeks. And so maybe you get more experience into using this device to get information necessary to decide on which market to sell. And so they may have more experience using the phone to make marketing decisions than in the productive cycle. So it might be great if we could go back and after a couple of years see what is going on. And the other issue, which is really important, which I have not stressed enough in the paper, is that this simple question: when a call made to a relative is related to a productive decision. Because these people call relatives on the mobile phone like 90%, 95% of the time is what they tell us. And so it is through relatives that they get a lot of information and make a lot of decisions. But as far as I have reached with the deadline on submitting the paper, I have not disentangled the relation or the data to differentiate, distinguish these type of calls. A call to a relative in order to get a decision on the productive sphere, which is something I should go on and work, and any ideas that you may have will be more than helpful. And that's it. Thank you.